So this is definitely gonna be an awkward video to make. Yeah. Every time I film on this channel, it is me singing or me doing something music related. And this video is music related, but it's more of a story time. I don't know if you all have seen those videos, but story time videos are basically where someone sits down and tells you a story. And I am here to tell you a story about my The Voice callback experience. So this is gonna be fun. Before we start, I would like to preface this video with the fact that I am not trying to bash The Voice. I am not trying to shed a negative light on their show and what they're doing. Obviously, on the other hand, this is show business. This is Hollywood. This is that whole experience. So there's a positive and negative light that can be shed on the show. Whether you ask, you know, it depends on who you ask. But this is my experience. And I'm going to tell you about that. So here we go. It was in Houston, Texas at the Minute Maid Stadium. And, you know, I wake up, I go, I wait in this long line. The line is around the stadium. Like when I tell you, if you're going, you have to be prepared, like bring your water, bring a snack. After the long waiting time, you get called into this, you eventually get split into a group of 10 people and you go in the room and you sing. I was first to go, obviously a little nervous, but nothing like major. I don't really get that nervous anymore just because I've done so much performing. So at the end, everybody sings and she's like, once again, the whole spiel. Thank you guys for coming out. We appreciate it. Like, please come out next year, yada, yada. Basically, the whole room gets a no. Wasn't upset about it. You know, it's just kind of, for me, like, it is what it is. I was like expecting, you have to go in expecting a no, as bad as that sounds. It's just the actual odds of you getting chosen are slim to none. And if you allow yourself to get so excited about it, you're gonna be disappointed. So that was that. And then me and Madison flew home, lived our lives. April 16th, I get an email and it says The Voice and then it says another girl's name. So I'm not gonna specify her name, but she is the producer that was in my room, which I would soon find out, at my Houston audition. I'm not gonna disclose her name just for, you know, privacy reasons. And I see that it's another girl's name, so I'm like, this is weird, like, they must have my name wrong. Cause you know, I still get those chain emails being like, audition, audition, so I'm just assuming it's another chain email, but I'm like, they got my name wrong? I'm like, wow, I'm really a nobody. Basically, this email, I read a little bit of verbatim, but I don't know if I can get sued for that. So basically this email was like, hi, you were in my audition room and I saw a lot of potential in you and I wanted to invite you out for a closed callback so you wouldn't have to, you know, audition in the open call again. I would like to invite you to Dallas, Texas in June. So I'm like sitting here reading this email and I'm like, they must have the wrong girl, like confused, because I'm like, okay, they rejected me when I was 18, they rejected me this past year, like, I was like, there's no way. So, you know, I responded, I was like, of course, I was like, oh, I'm totally interested, like, you know, everything like that. So my dad thankfully offers to pay for my hotel and my flight with his points because I'm poor and I wouldn't be able to do that. So that's super exciting and obviously much appreciated. And then I call Madison and I'm like, we're going to Texas. And she's like, okay. She literally just goes, okay. Doesn't even know why we're going to Texas. So I explain it to her. She's very excited. Like, obviously I have to tell her because she has to go with me. In the email, it says in like bold red lettering, like, do not disclose any information, this will affect your chances, and yada yada. So basically insinuating if you tell anyone about this, you will be disqualified. So that was kind of frightening. I never had to sign a non-disclosure agreement or anything, so technically that's why I can make this video. They're like, okay, this is gonna be at a studio with, there's gonna be a microphone, a sound system, lighting, a camera there, and prepare four full songs with a track or your own instrument. So right off the bat, this is very different than the open call, because the open call you get 1 minute to sing and you have to sing a cappella. and there's no lights, no microphone, no sound system, nothing. So this is very different from the open call. So my perfect set list that I spent months crafting, here we go, are you ready? Was All I Ask by Adele, super belty, shows off my voice. And then next I had Dear Future Husband by Meghan Trainor. You can do like some riffs on it, and it's also like cute like personality, and it's like upbeat. They wanted a lot of upbeat songs, they specified in the email. My next song would have been One Last Time by Ariana Grande, but I used a piano track for it, so it was like a little more slowed down and like unique, a different take on the song. So I'm like, okay, look, I can switch things up, I can be spunky, I can belt. And then my last song would have been Sexy Dirty Love by Demi Lovato, which is belty and also shows off my voice, but it's also like sassy too. So I combined like all of these vibes into like my perfect set list and like put them in the right order. I initially had the Adele song third, but then I watched these videos like I'm making right now, and they said to put your strongest song in the beginning in case you get, cut off, or if you only get to do one song. About a week or two before the actual audition, they sent me, they confirmed that you're gonna come, and then they sent me this artist profile, and basically it's a bunch of questions about yourself. So it's literally, it was like, I think 100 questions, like a lot of questions, and they were like all extended response. So the audition day comes, and my audition was on Monday, and it was at 4:20, so everybody gets a slot. I get there at like 4:10 with Madison. We're in our little rent-a-car. I go in, there's a little table, it's this little studio. I go in, I sign in, and then I'm walked back to a room where someone looks over all of my things that I brought, so that artist profile and whatnot, and they look over everything. You need your ID, obviously, to make sure that it's you and not just like a random person off the street being like, yeah, I got a callback. And then I was walked next to the room where I would be auditioning. So it's a really little studio, and like you can totally hear like what's going on behind the door. It's my turn. I go in the room and I walk in, and it's like everything in the room, it's like dark, and then there's just like lights on like the stage. It's like literally, when I tell you, it's like where I'm sitting right now. When I like perform like for people, like I'm used to having way bigger space. But they want you in that little box because there's actually a camera there getting B-roll for, I guess, if you make it on the shows. So there's two people sitting at a table like right in front of me, the camera's behind them, and I'm in this little area. They're like, don't move from that spot, and I'm like, okay. So my song starts. Everything seems to be going fine. Like my voice sounds like I don't feel any horrible way about it. I'm like, okay, this could be going worse, I'm super hard on myself. Like, I don't know, if I do like one thing like subtly wrong, I'm like, this is a disaster. So I didn't have any moments where I was like, this is awful. The only thing that I remember is the sound system was like not very good, which was weird because it was held in a recording studio. It was like one of those, you can tell the difference between like a cheap sound system and like a nice sound system, or even like an average sound system. This sounded like a sound system that you do like karaoke at like a bar with. Like it was kind of like almost like staticky. It was weird. So, and then I'm like belting, right? So I just think that wasn't a good combination personally. So I'm singing my song, and I get maybe like halfway through, and like my music starts to lower, and I'm like, this is weird, because like, like I just was like, what's happening? Oh my God, like thinking something's going wrong with my track. So then they stop and they're like, Kendall, like clapping, like I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, like this is like, why are you clapping if you like stopped my song, So they're like clapping, like saying my name, like I did a good job. The guy is like, oh, like we just want to thank you for coming out today. And now I'm like, okay, like I'm getting a no, like, which is like expected, because all the videos that I watched, they were like, they let the person sing one song, and then they were like, oh, like thanks for coming out, your voice is just a little inconsistent. So I'm expecting to get that feedback, because when you say somebody's voice is inconsistent, they go home and they think about everything that they did, and most likely there's a part where you weren't like spot on with something. So somebody is like thinking, they're like, oh, that must be why, that one mess up must be why they thought my voice was inconsistent. So honestly, props to the voice for thinking of that excuse to decline people, because everybody can go home and be their own worst critic and think their voice isn't consistent, you know what I mean? So that's what I was expecting to hear, because that's what they told everybody else in all the videos that I watched. So I'm expecting, you know, just whatever, like, for whatever reason, it's their right to decline me for whatever reason that they want to. So I'm just expecting the generic, you know, your voice isn't consistent. They're like, thanks for coming out today. The guy says something, he's like, we have to go based off of what we heard in the room, and it just wasn't there today. I don't think, okay, you know. So he goes, and it just wasn't there today. He's like, this song, like, it wasn't good for your voice. He's like, you don't know how to pick songs for your voice. Excuse me? What? Not to be like cocky or anything, but like, I sing Adele. I sing Adele, dude. Like, everybody knows, like, everybody's like, wow, you sound just like her. Like, wow, your voice is made for these songs. Like, those are actual, like, comments that I've gotten before. And he's trying to sit here and tell me that I don't know how to pick songs for my voice. One, in theater, I'm a belter, okay? I'm not an ingenue, I'm a belter, and Adele belts, okay? And I'm like, sitting here like literally flabbergasted at the fact that this man sat here and told me that I don't know how to pick songs for my voice. Because one, I've been picking songs for my voice my entire life, for 24 years. I think I know how to pick songs for my voice. Also, other people who have picked songs for my voice have also picked similar songs. So I'm like, okay, sir. If that is his opinion, you told me to prepare 4 songs for you. I have 4 songs on my track, on my CD. I have 3 other options that you can potentially hear today, sir, if you would like to take the time. I wish I said that, but I didn't. I don't know if that was just like a cop-out excuse as to why they didn't take me, or if they really just didn't like my voice, which is fine. Or if I wasn't the right look, they already had too many belters. It could have been anything under the sun, but it's very hard in that moment to not take it personally, especially when it's a comment like that. It could have even just been like, thank you so much, we're just gonna have to pass today. Like, that's way less hurtful than you don't know how to pick songs for your voice. The fact that that man chose to make a comment about my song selection and how I don't know my own voice, I was offended by that. So then, you know, I'm like, I just kind of want to get out of the room at this point. I wish I said, do you want to hear another song that I've chosen? But that just didn't occur to me. I think I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go now, okay, bye. Bye. So I'm like, you know, I'm just, and I'm sitting here like nodding at him, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, you're like agreeing, like, so I'm like, okay, and now I just kind of want to like get out of the room. Go to walk out and they're like, oh, here's your CD back. I was like, I really almost was like, you can keep it, but I didn't. I just stood there and waited for them to give me my CD. I'm like, yeah, sure, give me the CD, because I want to remember all of these songs, because these songs are not tied to the experience that I just had. So I walk out of the building and I'm like going back to the car where Madison is waiting. And I walk there and I look at where we were parked and she's not there. So I text her and I'm like, hey, like, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm at Target, like, I'll be right there. And Target's like right down the road. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm standing here, and then it was just like the last straw. Like, I didn't even have a place to go sit and like be upset. And so I'm just standing there, and I literally just start like crying outside the building. And so now I'm like, I need to get out of here, because there's like other people in the building that are, or like other people that are gonna be coming to audition, and they're gonna see me crying, like sitting here like, oh my God, this girl's like pathetic. So I'm like, I just need to get out of here. So I literally just start walking down some random road in Dallas, Texas, like in my heels with my red lipstick, like mascara, like running down my face. I don't get upset about rejection very often, if at all. But this one just hurt, you know? And I think it's because I flew out there like with my dad's points, and like, you know, they like believed in me enough to like fly me out there. And then I go there and I try, and I don't even get to finish my whole song, which I think is rude. And when everybody else on all the videos I've watched got to finish their whole song, and then, you know, they rejected me with like a hurtful comment like that. So I was like, it was bad. Like, this was not like, and it wasn't something that ruined my whole trip. It didn't ruin my whole day even, like, but I just had to cry about it, you know? I just had to like let it out. And also you have to understand, like, since April, like I was like thinking about this, being like, okay, and I didn't think I would make it either. Like, I wasn't like, I'm gonna be on The Voice. Like, I was never like that confident about it, but just the fact that you get a call back, of course there's like that little extra hope in you that's like, oh my God, like they saw something in me. And I get in the car with Madison and we drive, and you know, she takes me to Starbucks and I get a pink drink, and you know, what kind of girl doesn't want a pink drink after she gets rejected from The Voice? So that is kind of where my story wraps up. The rest of the day, like I fixed my makeup and then we went to the JFK Museum in Dallas, Texas, which was cool. And yeah, so like it didn't ruin my whole day or anything, but you know, it was sad and it like hurt, like telling my parents that I didn't get through, or even like that I didn't get like a nice rejection. Yeah, that's kind of where our story ends, guys. So I just wanted to make this video. One, if you do have a callback for The Voice, I do suggest putting your strongest song first. Don't take it too personally. It is what it is. It's honestly, I really just was honored to get a callback, because out of all of those people that audition, there's like literally like hundreds of thousands of people that audition, and just to get a callback, you know, was nice, and it was a nice thing. Unfortunately, the rest of the story wasn't that great. I think there's better ways to reject someone than to attack their song style and to attack their selection for their own voice that they know better than you. I kind of wanted to sing All I Ask by Adele, which is the song that I sung, and post it on my YouTube just to be like, just to have you guys tell me if I picked the wrong song for my voice, you know? And also kind of as like a screw you to The Voice. I just thought the story might be helpful to some people if they are auditioning for The Voice or have a callback for The Voice, or if you just thought it was funny. I just think it's like kind of a story that you're like, wow, that actually happened to you kind of thing. So that's why I made this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.